Welcome to this week's episode. Today we're going to be having a look at photographing a bottle that we're going to be doing for Truman and Orange, and it's for the John Bannermans Red Seal Finest Whisky. Quite an interesting bottle. It's got a slight taper. At the back it's got some wording, and it's got a label that's got foiling on it, so we've got that to think about. We need to make sure we get the color of the whiskey coming through, and what was very important as well, they wanted to show the squareness of this bottle. So we're going to be shooting the bottle, and then we're also going to be shooting glasses with the liquid in with ice. And I've got today some of my artificial ice here that I use. I've got different types. Some are more of a perspex, some are a glass ice. So before we got started with the shoot, what was quite important is that I needed to get rid of the wording on the back here, because when I look through that wording spreads right across the top of the bottle. The wording itself magnifies through the liquid. So what we did is we got a Dremel and we ground that off. My assistant did a great job yesterday of grinding that away. The important thing when lighting a whiskey like this is for the client, they want their color of their whiskey to show up. They want it very much on this particular one, a sort of honey yellowy color coming through. So what we do is we put a lot of backlight through, and the way each photographer does things differently. I tend to like to light into a large area, and then I can shift my light in the background depending on whether I want the light to move to the left or the right of the bottle. An interesting fact, if you want it to be lighter on the right, you move your light at the back to the left. One of the other things on this that we've also want to do is we want to show up the embossing. It's got two lions embossed on this bottle, so the backlight will help that. But what we do is we put black cards in, we put highlights on the side to try and pick up the embossing, because that's an important feature in the design of the actual bottle. I've got here with me Rowan Liebrandt. Rowan is from Kensington Distillers.
To be called Scotch whiskey obviously needs to come from Scotland as the first part. It also needs to have been matured for 3 years. So this is a Scotch whiskey. It's from Scotland. Scotch is one of the largest categories internationally, and it's getting increasingly exciting in Africa at the moment. So we've created this brand, Bannermans. I stand to be corrected, but it has to be one of the first recent whiskey brand creations. There's been very little going on in the whiskey space. Most of the brands are kind of hundreds of years old. You consider the Johnny Walkers of the world; they've all been around for a couple of hundred years, and this is one of the new entries into that space. So we've designed it specifically for Africa. We think there's a lot of excitement going on in Africa, and at the moment nobody's really creating brands for them, and that's what we're trying to do. Whiskey is quite an interesting category. People have got a very set idea of what they want whiskey to taste like and how they want whiskey to behave. So blended whiskey it does have a lot of variation in terms of how it tastes. So there's hundreds of blends which you can choose from. We've got a particularly high malt component which gives it its body and basically makes it a bit more mouth-filling and gives it a bit more character than otherwise. So we've got quite a lot of malt. Our malt tends to come from the Speyside area, which is known for kind of honey, cut grass, vanilla, those types of flavours. So we think that's the kind of the space that appeals to young Africans.
And tell me, if somebody's going out and going to choose a whiskey, is there any tips that you could give them? Or
Try them all. I do think whiskey kind of works by occasion. We think of whiskey as one thing, but actually there's so much going on in it. It's a little bit like wine, actually. You get whiskies from different parts of Scotland. So really depending on when you're going to drink it, who you're going to drink it with, it's got a big determinant of what you're going to drink. Bannermans is very much the kind of, this is an everyday drink. It's the kind of thing we're quite comfortable people mixing and drinking in a tall glass with ice. It's slightly sweeter, and it's basically been designed to be nice and refreshing for our kind of climate.
So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Look forward to using the pics.
Thanks for watching the episode with us. I hope you learned a little bit about whiskey and what it takes to enjoy a good whiskey. And don't forget to subscribe, share and like.